In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys our $12,500 RV Super C that we got. So if you guys haven't seen the videos, we picked this up almost 3 months ago, and we have been vigorously trying to get it into shape so that we could come out here to LS Fest, Holly's LS Fest in September. We're in Bowling Green, Kentucky right now. So yes, it did make it here, but I'm going to show you guys the process of getting this thing ready. And then at the end of this, I'm going to show you guys where we're at right now. We finally made it. I'm happy to say at least that much. But if you guys haven't seen the way this thing looked before, picked it up and the whole thing had holes in it. The interior was absolutely shot. So we did a bunch of stuff to it to get it ready to travel 800 miles from Tampa, Florida up to Bowling Green, Kentucky. We towed our 24-foot enclosed race trailer, and we detached it right now because it's actually over for where our vendor spot's going to be, because we're going to have our booth there for Boosted Motorsports. But let's go ahead, get into the video, and show you guys what we end up doing. All right, guys, so it's been some days. I've been working on the Corvette, also been working on the 426 Whipple Supercharged Dakota, and I've been trying for the last few days to get these tires mounted. So I picked up a set, I don't know if I've shown you guys yet, but I picked up a set of used Continentals, but they're 2023. I think they're off like a 2024 F450. They're not new, but they're probably about half life, but they are not dry rotted like the ones that are currently on here. So I'm trying to get these mounted locally, but I've tried like 2 times. Hopefully the third time's a charm, because most places wanted like $75 plus to mount and balance each one. And I found a guy that'll do it for $50, and they are actually going to put them on a balancer. A lot of places want to just put lead weights. They essentially put like a bag or pouch of lead in the wheel to balance it, but I want them to be balanced properly. That way we can drive with these for a bit, and then I'll get brand new tires later on. But for now, these will be a lot safer and good for what we're doing. What I'm doing right now is I got a bunch of things coming. I got some stuff so that I can seal off the fridge from the outside, because it's going to be ventilated inside. So that's why this is ventilated. And there's another little trim that goes here, is so that it circulates the air from inside rather than outside. So it's going to be pulling already cooled AC'd air inside and recycling it. So I got to seal off the original vents on the outside. So I got some stuff coming for that. And what I'm working on now is, if you guys remember, we filled all the holes here. So there was some large holes. I filled it all, and what I just finished doing was using some Goo Gone, because there was some duct tape goo all over it, and then I degreased it. So I used some of those, what the heck was this thing again? Some sort of spirits stuff that essentially degreases stuff before paint. It was in the paint section at Home Depot. Sprayed it all down, degreased it, and now we're ready to go. I popped out the 2 cup holders. They're over there. I'm going to clean them. And now we're going to lay down the same vinyl that we did over here in the bathroom, which came out really good. So it's going to look like that. So pretty happy and excited for that. It's going to just be one less thing that looks absolutely roasted. So I'm going to time lapse it with you guys. It's already clean, ready to go. Now it's just a matter of laying it down and cutting it up. All right, guys, check it out. It wasn't too long. I would say like maybe 20-30 minutes. The longest part is going to be cutting this, but super happy with the results. You guys saw what this looked like just a short minute ago, and even like I haven't obviously used this for any length of time. So even if you know, for whatever reason, if it doesn't last very long or gets nicked, it's so inexpensive and it doesn't take long to replace it. If I have to replace it, you know, every couple years or even once a year, it's really not a big deal. One thing I will say though is you can barely see it, but this stuff isn't very thick, so you can kind of see like a different color underneath it. So if you're really looking and you know where the imperfections are, you can kind of see them. But I mean, I'll take it. It's 1,000 times better than it was before. It just it's funny when you start upgrading certain stuff, it starts looking so much better than everything else. Like this these cloths and this material looks so ruthless next to this fake marble or whatever it might be. So anyways, that's done. Let's move on to the next thing. All right, so it is actually the next day. You can probably notice the light coming in, and I got a few things, so I want to mess with some stuff. I'm not sure what order I'm going to do everything in, but I got this, and this clicks onto our Manchester propane tank, and then these 2 wires will connect to the harness that is currently just dangling there, and it should give us our propane tank level. So you can see here our propane tank says it's full when I know it's not. So let's go ahead. This also has, I believe, a manual or an analog gauge, so it has E right there. So let's go see if this clicks on, and then maybe we can wire it in. Other stuff here, I got a bunch of black hinges that are identical to these, so that should fit right in place of those. Replace all of our hinges because the hinges are, some of them are beaten and battered. And then this stuff, Marine Tex. So you can see here, handles like putty, hardens like steel, sands like wood. This is what I was going to use to fill all the holes on the outside, because it's already white, and probably like 95% of the holes on the RV are through the white portion of the RV. So this will hopefully blend in, and it's should hopefully look half decent for now until we get a chance to, you know, maybe cosmetically paint it or whatever we end up doing. But let's click this on, and then we'll see what we get into next. All right, so here we are under here. I've got these heat shrink wire butt connectors for that, but here's the two wires right there that you can see, and those I believe are for that. So this thing somehow clicks right onto here, I believe. Very weird how this works. Yeah, oh, look at that. So it shows quarter full. I don't know how that thing works, but it popped up to quarter full tank somehow. Interesting. I really don't know how that works, but anyways, let me wire this in, and then we can hopefully see if it works. All right, so I clicked this on. It shows about a quarter of a tank. So let's go inside and see if we get the same representation on the gauge. And then I'm gonna end up putting some electrical tape and whatnot on this and dressing it in a little bit better if it works. All right, let's see what we got. Levels test. Hey, it does work. Okay, so yeah, it does work. So it technically says we're empty because it's showing quarter, just under a quarter tank on the physical gauge, and this first increment is a third. So hopefully once we fill it up, it should show. Oh, also you'll notice that the black water shows empty. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was showing a third full for some reason. It's probably just one of the sensors was dirty, as nasty as that sounds. It's the only thing I can think of. All right, there we go. Ended up wiring it all in. So now she looks good and clean, and this little part is done. Man, I'm super happy with how this whole propane tank scenario turned out. Really came out good. All right, little update for you guys. This stuff has been working awesome. So I've just been mixing up small batches of it and patching up the holes on the exterior of the RV. So what I've been using is this tool here, and I just put this sanding, what you would call this, like a dreidel almost. And I don't want to make the holes any bigger than need be. But what I was doing is I was just making them smooth, getting rid of any little sharp edges and cleaning out the hole, and then just patching it with that stuff wherever needed. And honestly, like from here, if you just take a glance at this thing without all the tape on it, you can't really see anything. So yes, it's gonna have, you know, little dots, but I mean, it looks so insignificant. And all these right here, including these two holes, that's where the awning goes. It's missing the awning. So if and when I eventually get the awning, all these will be all blocked off and occupied. So just been going about, and I kind of just wanted to get myself in a little groove before I kind of showed you guys what I was doing. So like here, for example, I got these 4 holes, and then I'll just clean them up a tiny bit wherever need be. If it's a clean hole, I go ahead and just fill it. But if it's one like this where it needs a little bit of cleaning, then I'll just do like this. Clean the hole a little bit, blow it out, and then we are ready to fill. But yeah, so far so good. And even like once the ones that are up to high, I don't know if you guys can see that right there, but once I take off the residue from the tape, you aren't even going to see anything at all. So really happy with how it's turning out, but I'm going to keep going. That one up there, it has some foam in it. So I'm actually right now in the process of switching over to my other bit. So I'm going to switch over to this bit, kind of chisel away a little bit of the foam so that I have a little bit of depth of the epoxy. And yeah, pretty much it. So let me keep going, and I'll update you guys as I go. All right, so just working away, you guys. Kind of not filming a whole lot just because I'm kind of in a weird way enjoying the process of just making the thing look decent from the outside. So got most of those all filled. I got a few up the side there. What I did right here is this part that we spray foamed from the inside. I kind of dug it down like 1/4 of an inch, and I've got a big batch mixed up here, and I'm gonna try to putty knife it in there and try to make it as nice as possible. It might take a few rounds, but that's the plan. All right guys, so it's the next day and pretty happy with the way these all turned out. I'm gonna wet sand them down so that they're all perfectly smooth. I was originally using like a putty knife to do it, but then every time I did it, it would go past, and then I would have to come back and kind of like scrape it up, and there's probably like 100 holes on this, so I wanted to get it sealed up. So I went ahead and I just started using a Q-tip on most of it and it was working pretty good. So it was keeping the epoxy nice and concise, and I figured I could come back and just you know, clean it up as necessary. This one definitely gonna have to sand that, but you can see there it's all hardened, and then a million holes on the back here, up there on the top, and then I'll show you guys what I'm doing here just now. And then same thing went over here and got all these. There's a lot of glue and stuff. There's more glue than there is you know, holes in epoxy. This stuff is solid though, but I'm gonna wait till my wet sandpaper arrives. I got some wet sandpaper for my favorite tool, the multi-tool, and I'm gonna knock these down. So other thing I was messing with is the water tank. So I filled it up, as you guys probably remember, and it was leaking like crazy out of this fitting. So I replaced the fitting, and now you can see I filled up maybe not quite a half, but maybe like 1/3. And this fitting is glued in, and this glue is actually giving way. So it's sweating out of here. So I'm gonna have to at some point figure that out. It's not like crazy, but it's enough to, it's noticeable, I guess I should say. So that's another thing I'm gonna have to deal with. Not like a huge pressing issue, but something else. But if you guys remember, there was boards and stuff. So there's actually supposed to be like this style of like rubber trim. It's supposed to be a piece here, and that piece at the top. Actually, yeah, I think there is supposed to be one more at the top. Missing that, but I went ahead and picked up some of these Rec Pro screws. So these are the screws that you'll see consistent throughout, these same Phillips, like deep Phillips head screws, and they're painted white. And I'm putting them back in where they originally were. That way our rear bumper cover thing is actually affixed, and I can you know, silicone this back on. So there was, see this kind of weird hole there? The guy had one of these things, it's like a drywall insert, and I just unscrewed it, got that removed. So I'm gonna put all these in here so that that's affixed. Also our top cap, I don't know if you guys can see that gap there. It's all missing the same Phillips screws, so I'm gonna go around, run around, put all these Phillips screws in here. That way this thing is affixed, and then I can come back here after we clean things up more and silicone it the way it should be. Okay, so got all those screws in all the way along, and then across the top. So now everything's fastened. Our top cap or rear bumper is not gonna fall off on us when we go down the road. I want to see if I can find this little, I don't even know what this is, this trim piece. So it's missing that trim piece across the bottom. I don't think there's supposed to be one across the top, because I don't see any additional screw holes, but I do think, and I know there's supposed to be one of these that covers over this, because you can see how it wasn't painted there. So that needs to be sourced out, but for now at least the bumper's not coming off, and then I'll get around to siliconing this afterwards, but for now it's one less thing. All right, well, it is time to make a mess. So I want to get this stuff, all these patches and stuff, sanded so that I can start painting all these. I want to try and get this little kitchen area done, at least painted, and this is kind of the goal right now, because once I get this painted I can put the microwave back in and just start finalizing more stuff. So let me start sanding, let me clear out some of the stuff because it's about to make a mess. There's also some tape on here, so for whatever reason these have come apart, so I'm gonna have to wood glue these back together. Shouldn't be a big deal, but it's just something else I'm gonna have to do. So I think that's the reason why there's tape on them, but this one's definitely come apart. Not a big deal though. Some wood glue, hold it overnight, and then she'll be back in order. Okay, another thing I'm doing is I cleaned off this ledge and took all the old felt that was right here. So I've got the pop out not completely out, but once it comes completely out, it kind of sits down on this ledge. and it's supposed to have a strip of felt that runs the whole length of this. If you guys remember, there was half of it dangling and kind of all over the place. So I've got a brand new 1-inch felt. So I'm gonna go ahead and run it the course of this whole section where it's supposed to be. I think that's probably gonna help with the initial bump in, and at least I hope it is. But I'll let me get this in here, and then I'll let you know how it pans out. All right, so now we've got the felt all the way along there. So let's operate the slide, see if it's any easier. So now hopefully it works better. We'll find out. All right, so let's see what we got. So we're gonna go out, and usually it's the initial coming in part that's, see how it drops down right there? That's the part where it usually struggles, is to come back up over the hump. Like that. Ooh. So it goes. It just seems like it struggles. Once it gets over that, it's fine, but anyways, all right, let's put it out. Okay, so that's fully out. It's gonna give us a bunch of room to work. Now let's get to work. All right, so I've just been getting stuff prepped. I took off the cabinet doors, they're over there, and just been sanding all the filler and whatnot. So looking pretty good. What I am doing also, I took off those cabinet doors, took out the drawers. So there's a million holes here that I need to fill. There's actually a couple usable holes because there's a door that goes on here. So I got to figure out which ones those are. Maybe I'll mark them somehow. And the rest of these all got to get filled. I popped off the cover for this. I painted that. And then I popped this out of the way just so I could paint around it fairly easy. I guess there's some sort of panel missing here, so I gotta figure out how I want to affix a panel there. I popped out the vent, which is over there, and then on this side, this person was in here messing with more stuff. So there was duct tape holding this patch in, because normally this goes there on the bottom, and then there was duct tape all on top of it. So when I removed the duct tape, this is what I found. So what I'm gonna do is put a piece of wood behind it, and then I'm going to put wood glue on it. I'm going to pin nail it, and then I can put this piece back on top, and then I'm going to use wood fill around the perimeter of it to solidify it, and then we'll sand it all, and then that should get this back in order. You can actually see here, this hole right there, that is where the top of that mounts to. So luckily the bottom half does go into there, so I don't have to worry too much. It's more just this side, and there that need to be reworked. The bottom part tucks back in behind this little panel. So I'm gonna cut a piece of wood from behind. I'm gonna put a bunch of wood glue on it. We'll pin it in, and then yeah, we'll just start going. It looks like there's a piece of wood I can actually pin that too as well. So let me get that. I'll show you guys what I end up cutting. I got my saw out, and yeah, we'll get that going, and then we can hopefully get this looking better in a minute. All right, so here we go. I got a nice chunk here because I want to give it plenty of support. I don't think anybody's ever, well, I shouldn't say that actually. I was gonna say I don't think anybody's ever gonna be pushing on here, but literally they're gonna be pushing these switches all the time. So I'm gonna tuck this in like this. So that'll be like that. Pin nail. We can cover the pin nails obviously when we paint. And yeah, it should be pretty decent. So this will work out nice. So I think I'm gonna space it out a little bit. Let me actually put a couple of pins in here for a second. Just to give this a little bit more strength. That went way too far, didn't it? I gotta back this down. Maybe a tiny bit more. Okay, so there, that's holding that a little better. I just want to give it a few more, why not? Give this thing a bit more strength where they didn't. Okay, so there's that, and then I am going to put some glue on that piece of wood wherever the heck it went. this guy in here, and then we're gonna pin it the same way. So the glue is just gonna add a little bit of strength to it as well. So I'm just trying to decide whether I want to butt this up or not, because that's gonna go there. This is gonna go on that. Decisions. I don't want to make this piece of wood too much longer, because then it's gonna start interfering with our switches and everything else. That's kind of why I'm trying to limit the height of this. I think I'll probably go there. All right, let's get some glue on it. Okay. All right, so we'll tuck this guy in here. Okay. There it is. They're only 1 inch long, if you guys are thinking I'm crazy for holding my hands there. Alright, that's definitely solid. Throw a few more in. It goes quite a ways. Okay, I like it. Let me just tap these guys. Well, I can tap it all afterwards. Let me do this. I'm gonna tap these. There's a couple that are sticking up a little bit, so I'll tap these down first, because then I'm gonna glue this and I won't be able to get my hand in there very easily to get behind to support it. All right, so I got those where I wanted them, and now you're gonna go ahead, get this into place. Could use new wood, but this is literally an exact fit, so why bother? All right, so there we go. Get our pin nails. Kind of want these to go a tiny bit deeper. Man, that little patch is solid. I like it. Okay, so our patch is nice and good. So now we gotta come in and fill this all with wood fill. So I might just knock it real quick with my sander first to get any really high edges off, and then I'm gonna fill all this so that way we can let it dry while we work on other stuff. All right, here we go with this nasty wood fill stuff. Ew. It's weird how the label's upside down. They want you to flip the can every time you use it. It's very, very odd stuff. So I guess we'll maybe mix it a little bit, since it looks very petroleum-y. This stuff smells wretched too, if you guys have ever used it or not. Alright, let's get this crap in here. This thing is gonna be strong. It's gonna be stronger than it originally was. They didn't have it pin nailed to the support back there. It was just a floating piece of wood before, so this will be better than ever. I knew this was here for the longest time, and for some reason I don't know, I didn't want to deal with it, so I just left the tape on it. But obviously we gotta deal with it now. Alright, so I'm gonna get this up in here. And then, kind of side note, I've been trying to get tires for this thing. So there's a local guy that's gonna do tires right behind. So I think I showed you guys the tires. I got tires for it, and I was trying to get him to put them on, and it was almost like, I don't know what you guys believe in, but every time I went to try to go get the tires put on, he was busy or he was closing or whatever, and it was like, I don't know, it's almost like something was stopping me from getting these tires put on. So, and I kind of was feeling a little bit iffy on them, and then just that occurrence, so I ended up there's like a couple of those tires that I'm a little bit like about. So I got 2 brand new Toyo tires for the front, and then I'm gonna take the best 4 out of those 6 tires and put them on the RV, which I think will be fine. So that's the plan at the moment. So I actually just got off the phone with him, and he's gonna call me when they're in. So potentially this afternoon I might put a halt to what we're doing here and go get the tires put on, because we are less than 2 weeks away. We've got like a week and a half, so I definitely need tires. This is not like, I don't know if you guys can tell, like I cannot spread this stuff to freaking save myself here. It's almost like I gotta build it super high and chunky, and then we're just gonna have to knock it down because this stuff spreads like terrible. I'm trying to like make it smooth so that it's less sanding, but it just does not want to go. When it hardens good, but man, I might just do it with this, and then the last little bit I'll do that other spackle, because I swear that other spackle works better than this. Come on, that one little hole. Alright. Every time. Oh man, I'm just making it worse the more I play with it. Garbage. Stuff is strong, but it's definitely not very pliable if you ever decide to use it. Unless it's just the climate we're in, which could be. Very well could be. Alright. I think that's what it's gonna have to be. Probably as good as we're gonna get it. Alright, so there. We'll let that all dry, that mess. And then we'll just knock it all flat, sand it out. It'll look decent once we're done. Alright, so I got all that patched up and letting that dry, and right now I'm just peeling off more tape off of this door so that I can put some wood glue in there, and then we'll pin nail it back together so that it sets. Alright, so there seems to be the problem, is she just falls apart. So I don't even know if I'll need to pin nail this. Just put some wood glue in here and then hold it back together, and it should be good. So let me get that done, and then I think I gotta do the same thing to that one. Alright, we got the wood glue up in there, and we'll squeeze together. Alright, as easy as that. It actually went together really snug, so I think it should be okay, and we'll let that cure up. This one's also all taped up, so I can only suspect the same thing's going on here, so let's take the tape off. Well, this one's solid. I don't know if they glued it and then taped it, but I don't see any separation on this one, so good to go. Alright guys, so making some good progress. I ended up sanding this all smooth. This came out great, and it is stronger than it was before, or originally I would say. And just been going around doing a bunch of stuff. Also, I want to paint this trim because it is all annihilated. You'll notice that this section here is removed. Check this out, the way they build these things. So it's literally just carpet, and then they wrap it back up, and then they cover it over. So this little doohickey was in the middle. This was on there. It had a million holes drilled throughout it. and you can see that all the pin nails were bent over for whatever reason. So I think it popped off, and then the person tried to, I guess, screw it into there, and it was just barely hanging on there. I was gonna replace that whole trim thing, but I started looking at some numbers. It's gonna cost like probably like $100 or $200 just to buy a 5.5 inch trim to go all the way around. So what I'm gonna do is everything, like these holes can easily be fixed. We're gonna paint it. This little medallion thing is mostly okay, but you can see a self tapper got ran through there. So that one, obviously, it's got a little crack in it, but I'm thinking of just painting these things completely over. So, and then this one, same thing. Somebody threw a screw in the middle, cracked it. This one is the worst, obviously. What I'm gonna do is, you'll see this perimeter piece here. It's cracked right there. It's like just hanging on for dear life. What I'm gonna do is put some wood glue in there, and then I'm gonna pin nail it, and then I'm gonna fill all the holes, because if I'm gonna paint this completely over, I'm just gonna sand it so it looks approximate. And since this one is maybe hanging on, what I could do is, since this one's in the centerpiece, I can maybe swap it out for this one. It looks like the exact same piece. So potentially what I could do is put this little doohickey here. Which way would it be? Like that, I think. Yeah, I could maybe just swap out this corner one, since it's going to be the less obvious one, put the cleaner looking one in the middle, and yeah, just repair it. So let me get some wood glue on this, pin nail it together, start filling it, and yeah, we'll just go from there. All right, so got all the holes filled, and I went ahead and scuffed the entire thing, you guys. So especially in the high traffic areas around this corner, made sure that I scuffed it all nicely, and especially around the sink. So everything's ready to go. Now I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna use our cleaning solution that we've been using on the walls and everything, clean it all up, tape it all up, and then we're gonna start doing all this. So obviously you can see I took off all the doors. They're over here. We'll go ahead and roll this and get it all on here. So let me clean it, tape it up, and then we can get to painting. Okay guys, well, I saved you guys the boring part. I went ahead, cleaned everything, degreased everything. We've hit this all, scuffed everything, masked everything off, and now it's ready for some paint. I cannot wait. This is gonna tie this in so nice, and I'm just tired of looking at all the patchwork. So let's get to painting. Like I said, I'm gonna paint all this. Those we'll do separately after, but at least get all this cabinetry looking decent. Okay, well, the pile of tires has diminished. So I've got 2 tires left. So what I did was I picked the best 4 out of the 6 of those used tires that I got. Like I said, they're 2023 date stamps, so they're not like they're super old or anything. And I didn't film the process because it was kind of boring, but now we've got these 2022 or 2023 tires on the back. So those are Continentals. And then what I did was I ended up spending the extra money. I've got brand new Toyos for the front. So I didn't want to play with putting used tires on the front end of this thing. So we've got 4 used Continentals on the back, 2 brand new Toyos on the front. That way we're all safe, we're good. And then I'm just gonna sell those 2 spare ones. What I'm gonna do right now is, if you guys remember, I painted the microwave. So before I hike this thing back in there, I wanna make sure it actually works. So we've got a true test. We've got a Jamaican beef patty. I'm gonna throw it in here. We'll see if it makes it hot, see if it cooks. If it does, then I can reinstall this microwave. Hopefully it does work. I mean, it turns on, but I haven't tried cooking with it. But if you guys remember, I think like maybe an episode or 2 ago, we painted the side of this because it was all schmammered on that side. So let's try it, see if she cooks. Here we go. Prepping the Jamaican beef patty. We'll put it in a little paper towel. Wrap it up real good. You hungry?
I can always eat.
Do you like Jamaican beef patties? Or do you even know what the fuck they are?
No.
Let's see if it works. I don't even know how you work this. Let's see. Press clear. Clear. Alright, where's time cook? Sensor cook, auto broil. How do you do this here? Let's see. 2. Wait. Let's do 52 seconds. Woo! It's spinning. Ooh, it's dusty. Let's see if she cooks. Alright, let's see. Yeah? It heated it up. Let's try. Grayson's dinner's in there. Yeah? I just flipped it over. I don't know if you want it or not. I'll eat it if you...
I won't say no to food.
Do you like it's like a, you know how Jamaican beef patty? All right, look at that. Oh, that steam. Sheesh. All right. There you go, Chef Gordon Ramsay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so it's actually a few days later, and I've just been working on stuff behind the scenes, you guys, and things have escalated quickly. So I figured these are all the cabinet doors, and obviously a couple drawers, and the grab handle, and some of the trim pieces. And I figured since these are going to be the highly, you know, touched and worked components, I would say, because you're always grabbing the cupboard or handles and all that stuff, I put this primer on it. I figured, well, I'll at least use primer on there. So this stuff says that you can prime it without having to sand it, but I still sanded it, degreased it, primed it before I go to the paint we're using. This is the paint I've been using, this porch and floor. So it's this stuff has been working really good. And on the cabinets themselves, I just ended up painting them. I've been just putting this straight onto the wood after sanding it and degreasing it, but I figured I would go the extra step of primer. But I'm a little bit disappointed because it's been almost 24 hours and you can almost, like, I don't even want to do it, but it's not hard. It's like almost like a plasti dip, like a rubberized coating. So they claim that it takes 7 days to actually harden, but they said you can actually put your top coat on this like 30 minutes afterwards or an hour afterwards. So it's been well above that. So I'm gonna go ahead, put all that on there, and then I'll show you guys what I've got going on in here. So all the cabinets are now painted. It looks really good, you guys. It's kind of a disaster in here, but just look at the areas that are painted. So I still got to take some of the tape. Some of the tape got stuck up there, so I have to work at getting it out. I put the microwave back in. Cleaned up all the microwaves, so this looks really good now. What else? Over here, I got this stuff ready to go, taped up. I've sanded it. We filled the holes. I've degreased it. That's all ready to go. Same with that one over there. And then this one that was already hanging off is down here. So I'm gonna actually paint it off because it'll just be a little bit easier. And then I'll pin nail it, and there might be obviously the few holes from pin nailing it, and I can just touch those up afterwards. So that's that. Also, you'll notice that the pocket door, I managed to get this out. It's pretty interesting the way it works. It's got these latches. I don't know if that's an RV thing or whatnot, but it hooks on those, and then it has these little safety latches. So got that out of there. I also taped up this so that I can paint this trim, and there was a couple small little dings or scrapes in the pocket door, but I got those taken care of. So, and then I already degreased the other side. There was just this side, and then I can paint the door. Could go a different color with the door. I was debating that, but I'm just gonna use what I have. I can always reinvent things later. But anyways, that's pretty much it. So I'm gonna get out the gray paint. I gotta paint all of the cabinet stuff that's out there on our bench, and I got a lot of painting to do. So let me get painting, and I'll show you guys what we end up with. Okay, this has been an extremely long and boring process, you guys, but all the cabinets are all painted. So I'm gonna go ahead, bring them in. If you guys remember this thing was absolutely destroyed. You can kind of tell a little bit. I could maybe improve upon it a tiny bit, but overall it looks 1,000 times better. So I do have to pin nail those all back in place. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna start putting the cabinets in, getting that trim stuff all sorted out. And my goal today is to at least have all the hinges and the doors back on. I'm gonna kind of leave them open while they continue to dry, but it's just a better place for them to dry, because I'm also running into issues with this where I'll have to do some touch-ups, because it's only inevitable. What'll happen is I paint the side of this and a little bit of paint that runs over the edge. When I put it down, I've been trying to lift them up to keep them free from sticking, but a couple of them stuck and kind of pulled some paper with them. So not the end of the world, but maybe just some touch-up stuff later. So let me get our new hinges on here, get these mounted back on, and we'll be able to kind of see what she looks like. All right, guys, well, it's the next day, and I have just been slaving away on this thing. It is Sunday, the end of August, pretty much, and I have to be ready to leave in a week. Less than 1 week. I want to leave next weekend, so the long weekend. That gives me a few days to get there. And yeah, just been trying to get as much stuff done. Could we use it the way it is? Yeah. Would it be enjoyable? So I am trying to just put in some crazy OT right now to get this thing to where I'm actually liking being in here. So anyways, I stayed up till 10:30 last night working on this, and this is the result. So yes, I may not be filming as much as I usually do on the process, but you guys got to understand, I just have to get this done. So I am super happy with the way it's coming out. So brand new hinges, put brand new handles on it. You guys remember it just had like the little knobs on here, so I put these handles on here. Everything's painted inside and out. I put these little rubber pads on here so that it's not just a wood on wood, you know, smash fest every time you close the doors. Here's all down here. So here's our drawers. Everything is painted on the back side, so everything looks good and proper, clean, no paint anywhere. And then this is the first time I've put this door on. So I actually robbed this little shock doohickey from one of, not those, but it's the same sort of thing in the back. It has like these shocks that hold these open. So the one in the bedroom, since I figured I'm not going to be using it too much, and I wanted this space to be able to put, you know, maybe put some pans in there or whatever for the burner. But there, so now this is on there. I painted that white. I painted the vent whites. What else did I do? Painted that vent white. We've got our handle on here all painted up. I put back in all of our switch panels and all that. Up here is all painted nice. I haven't done anything with this yet. We'll deal with that later. Same thing over here. Everything's painted inside and out and looks really, really good. So super happy with how this all turning out. You know, the microwave's all cleaned up back in here. I was fighting with this to get this back in here because when I painted it, it was like such a tight fit. I had to like sand, and even when I originally took it out, it was still a tight fit. So I had to sand a bunch to get that to go in, and I kind of pushed it a little bit too far in, but I don't even care right now. I'll deal with that later. Put one coat on the door. I still got to put probably at least another coat, maybe 3 coats, and then I haven't even started on the back side of it. What I'm gonna do right now is bump this room out and start trying to get this as, you know, livable as possible. So this kind of looks a little sketch, and this is where I'm gonna be, you know, sleeping and whatever for while we're gone for 2 weeks. So I really want to get this all painted. So I'm gonna push the room out, and then I'm gonna start dismantling all those cabinets back there and see how much I can or cannot get done. I have a video for you guys, but we upgraded the stereo. We've got a Apple CarPlay Android Auto unit in there. It was cheap. It was like 120 bucks. That video is coming for you guys. I just got some floor mats because I noticed when I was going to get the tires changed and stuff, for me jumping in and out of mechanic shops, that these like tan carpet was getting dirty on that side, which I was like, oh, that's gonna be a bastard to get out. That's gonna suck to get out, since it's gonna be, got that spider. So I figured it would be hard to get out since it's probably grease. So I went ahead, just got some cheap mats there for the front, some black ones. That way I don't have to worry about that. And that's about it. I still haven't secured my fridge. So yes, I also have to, the fridge doors are open right now, but I gotta also figure this out because I'm dropping the car, or the RV I should say, not the car, but I'm dropping the RV off tomorrow to get an alignment. So we got new tires. I need the alignments because the thing doesn't drive that straight at the moment. It pulls to the right and the steering wheel's to the left. So telling you guys, I'm not gonna have floors, but if I can have everything else looking decent, I'll overlook the floors for now. But floors are definitely not in the cards, by the way. I'm just talking out loud here. So let me push this room out and get to making all this look nice. All right, guys, so it's the next day, and I'm telling you guys up front, I am not filming everything because I am going like a madman. So it's now Monday. I gotta try and leave this weekend and have everything ready. We gotta have the Corvette ready. I gotta still make sure my trailer's good, you know, maybe repack the bearings on the trailer, that we're hauling the Corvette in, and right now you'll notice the RV is not where it's normally sitting. So I went ahead and dropped it off to get an alignment because the steering felt really sloppy. The thing was like, you know, you're like white knuckle driving it the whole time when I drove back from Nebraska to here in Tampa, Florida. So sent it off to get an alignment. They called me back, and even though it's only got like not even 20,000 miles on the clock, they said both outer tie rods were gone, and I can't remember the name of it. I don't know if it's stabilizer link, but it's the bar that goes from the steering box to the actual steering itself. That one, the joints on that were gone, and it's the complete bar you have to buy. So it's getting those pieces, so I'm probably gonna get it back. They said maybe tomorrow, so maybe Tuesday, at the latest Wednesday. But you'll notice behind me right here, I went ahead and I took all the cabinet doors off. So these are all from the back of the RV, and then all the drawers over here are already painted, so they're just chilling over there drying, but everything's coming out super good. Really happy with the results on everything. But I've got it all over here. So I have to tape these up both sides. So you got the mirrors on these ones. Those ones they can just paint through and through, but these ones got this white panel on the back, the backing of the mirror. So I've got everything taped up. Got a couple more over there. And yeah, just been getting this all done. If you're noticing here, this crazy storm is rolling in. If you guys are ever lived in Florida or visited Florida for any length of time, like I've visited Florida, but the weather here is insane. Like it was literally blue skies a minute ago, and then this like tornado looking thing is just rolling up on me. So like look, it was perfectly nice over there, and now this thing is rolling in. So it's, but if you guys don't know, every day around like I want to say like between 1 and 3 o'clock, at the most 5 o'clock, there will be some sort of torrential downpour. So we're about to get. I'm gonna keep taping, break for lunch, and then I'm gonna get painting. And that's how much rain will come in. Look at that. Welcome to Florida, boys. All right, a few things showed up for the RV. This to replace this messed up duct taped one. So kind of excited to get this on here because this has just been one of the last eyesores. And other than that, like if you guys take a look at it, it does not look that bad. There's a lot of glue still stuck to it, so at some point maybe I'll even do that at Steve's place, but see all the glue and stuff still stuck everywhere. This thing can clean up pretty nicely. There's just glue from duct tape everywhere. It's almost, I don't know, maybe the longer I leave it, it's just the glue is just drying out in the sun and it almost falls off. As you can see, it's almost able to just pop off like that. So let's get this off, because this has been driving me crazy, this like duct tape contraption. Like that's, I don't know, there was some sort of modified pipe deal that was on there, and this was the second attempt because the first one, the door was completely different. So this one, it hooks on the bottom, swings in like that. Oh yeah, that is satisfying. So it doesn't have a little squiggly goo on the bottom, but definitely looks pretty decent. So I'm starting to be okay with the way the outside of this thing looks, you guys. And then I'll show you this other thing. I got one more product I'll show you guys in a second, but I've just been trying to get things a little more sealed up. So this top corner, the person that owned it before must have smoked something with it, and that the cap over there was ripped. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just gluing it back in place, and all that crazy wood and stuff right there, I had it taped up before, figured I would deal with it later, but I want to really get this thing sealed off nicely. So I used RV and motorhome sealant, and I basically glued it back down, so I'm holding it in place. I'm gonna let this dry overnight, and then I'll be able to actually come back over top it with like it's not lap sealant, but it's by the same company that, like, it's more for if you're doing upright stuff. So since we're on the side, it's for window and cap sealant, which that's literally what we're dealing with there on the corner. So we'll let that dry. Other than that, like I said, just freaking glue everywhere that's making this thing look worse than it is. Like all that there is just all glue, but once I clean that all off, like aesthetically, this thing will look pretty good. Same thing, all that, those marks all over there, this is all glue. Like it won't look half as bad, and this is all glue. Of course, we've got our little, you know, patches that we've done everywhere, but I'll worry about wet sanding those and filing those down later. This is all glue from duct tape, So it will clean up nicely. I just haven't had a chance to do it. This is a water stain. This is like hard water stuff. All glue from duct tape, duct tape, duct tape. This is all glue all the way up on the corner here too. And the other thing I got was this. So we were missing this thing. So it's a gas and carbon monoxide detector. So if we hit the lights here. So this goes right down in there, and apparently they only last, it literally says it has an expiration on it, so it's only good for 60 months by the time you activate it, and then it'll just start screaming saying replace me. As far as RV, we got it back from the alignment shop and they ended up replacing some parts, but it drives a hell of a lot better than it did before, but it still pulls to the right a little bit. So I'm gonna call them in the morning, because when I took it, it was already like closing time, so they were already gone and out of there. I'll show you guys what they changed though. They changed both tie rods and then this bar here. So they replaced this bar, the one that goes from the steering box to the actual link, and then I don't know if you guys can see this, but they put brand new tie rods on both sides on the link bar that connects the two. So they said that stuff had play in it, and that's what was giving me sloppy steering, but it still pulls to the right a little bit. So I'm gonna call them and see if there's anything they can do about that, or that's just the way it is. But it's nothing excessive. It drives way better than it did before, but still, like, you have to hold your hand on the wheel, and if you let go, it'll start drifting to the right almost immediately. So that's about that. As far as all this, these are all painted, so check this out. So we've got these all painted up, and I took all the tape off them, so they're ready to go in now that we got the RV back. Here's all this stuff all ready to go. So there it all is. And I'm gonna go ahead and bring that stuff in, start mounting all the hardware on there, getting the handles on it. It is now Tuesday, so I'm trying to leave Friday or Saturday. We'll see if we can make it. All right guys, so I'm happy to tell you, I know there's a lot missing from this video, but we did make it to Bowling Green, Kentucky, and we're here for LS Fest, and we are here for Mo Party as well. So the RV did great. If you guys haven't seen that video, I documented the whole process of us getting it here. So we traveled all the way from Tampa, Florida, all the way here, and no issues. So I'm happy to tell you guys that. A few things I will let you know though. So we ended up putting the brand new tires on the front. We put the 4 used Continentals on the rear. So we've got brand new Toyos up here and 4 used Continentals. I kind of just wanted to see how this whole thing worked towing the trailer first before I really started investing in more expensive tires, because if I had bought brand new tires for all 6, it would have been like $3,000 into our original budget, and I really wanted to see how this Duramax with the Allison transmission would tow with a pretty much 20,000 pounds unit, and then we were probably going to have, you know, 6,000-7,000 pounds behind it. So I wanted to see how it all worked, and it worked great. So now I'm a lot more relieved to tell you guys that it works really, really good. So we've got our Corvette Z06 over here, the event's over there, so we're in the campgrounds right now. And they're just setting up, so we got here a few days early just so we could, I gave myself enough time to make sure that we got here with no issues, and in case there was any issues that we had, you know, a few days to relieve them so that we could still make the event. But we got here way ahead of schedule and it worked flawlessly. So we drove halfway one day and then the rest of the way the next day, and everything was good. So what else can I show you guys on it? So as far as the axle situation and the alignment, so we sent it for the alignment, and what happened was it still pulled to the right, and they thought I was crazy. They were kind of mocking me. Oh, maybe you just don't know how to drive big rigs and they're not going to drive straight. And I was like, no, there's something wrong with this. So I brought it back to them. They swore 3 of them drove it and there was nothing wrong with it. And then after me telling them I want it right, they went through the whole thing again, and they found that the rear axle was a little bit shifted in the chassis. So they actually found that it was a 1/2 inch off, so the rear axle wasn't square, and it was basically banked to the right, and it was causing the truck to drive to the right. So they ended up removing or lowering the rear axle off the leafs. They notched out the block, and then they put new U-bolts on it, and they clamped it down where they wanted it so that it was square in the chassis, and now this thing drives straight down the road. So that's all sorted out. Other than that, I showed you guys in one of the other videos when I stopped and had a shower in the rest stop, this whole thing got covered in black soot, and ended up I did a bit of research, and they said that a lot of times a spider can get into the Venturi tube that's in here, and it'll essentially not be a clean burn. It'll be like a rich burn because there'll be not a lot of oxygen and just more fuel. So essentially it's like a rich mixture, and it was all here. So I ended up taking that tube out. Sure enough, there was a big cobweb stuck in it. I had to get like a little pipe cleaner, clean it out, flush it out, and now it works good. We got the new cover on there. What else can I tell you or show you guys about this? Let me show you guys inside and kind of go through a little bit more, because the last few weeks have just been mental. So I have been trying to, you know, document everything as much as possible. So you guys remember we ended up patching that big hole that was there. So look at how good that came out. You guys can't even tell hardly anything. I could maybe put another coat of paint on it if I really wanted to, but that's that. So all this stuff is working well. I ended up taking these off. These, if you guys remember, these are brown, so I painted them all white. That's kind of the theme I've been doing. Don't mind like the flooring. The flooring's all gonna get ripped out when we get more time here. So I've got everything expanded right now. So both slides are out. I'll kind of give you guys a little tour here. So all these came out really great. If you guys remember these caps where they were split, I ended up filling all the holes, and they actually look pretty decent. So you will see the little pin holes. This is just from the pin nailer. I got to go back and maybe fill those little holes if I want to really be fine detailed. I could fill little holes and repaint where the holes for the pin nailer were, but everything works good. I've already got, like, you know, stuff all sorts of loaded in here, but we painted all the backs of the cupboards properly, put all new hinges on it. I even painted inside the cupboards, but I got this like protective mat down so that we don't scratch it all up when things are traveling. Yeah, everything super good. You guys look, all the insides of the cupboards, and then I put these latches on so that they don't fly open. It had like these really weird latches. It was like a little peg that went into a hole, and they kind of wasn't the best thing. So I got these latches for RVs where they hold the door closed, so you can put stuff in here and the doors aren't going to fly open. But check out how nice of a job it came out. This was, if you guys are curious what process I used, I just simply sanded everything down. I used a TSP, I think it's called, the cleaner for painting and prepping. And then I simply just painted it. I found that it was actually working better to just paint the wood instead of putting that primer. I don't have full faith in that primer at the moment, but I just used a foam roller and did all of this. Only spots I didn't use foam roller was in these corners here. I would use a brush, and then while the paint was still wet, I would come back and foam roll everything just so you don't get the brush marks. But everything came out super good. If you guys remember how many holes there were in all these cabinets, like, it looks so good. That little piece right there, that was missing, but I have some extra board and whatnot, so I'll cut that out. I gotta, you know, fasten it from the back side again. I'm probably gonna leave it. A lot of these panels, they don't make them accessible, so you can't get into them later. But what I've been doing is, anytime that I've been replacing them, I've been putting screws in from the back. So for example, on that, I'll put 4 screws in from the back. That way, if I need to remove that, I can take the drawer out, and I can take this out, get my hand in the back, unscrew this panel, and then I have more access in case there's any, you know, issues or anything down the line. So I'll put that in there. I kind of just have things out in full living mode right now. I've been cooking, eating, cleaning, all that stuff in here, and everything's been working awesome. Picked up this $10 toaster from Walmart, so I just had eggs and breakfast there. All of our lights look really good. Our microwave, I haven't really had to use it. Our freezer, look at it, I got it jammed full of food. Look at this. This is so cool, you guys being able to like camp and have everything that you would possibly want like in your house. So I've got hash browns for breakfast, I've got French fries, sweet potato fries, Jamaican beef patties, burgers, I've got steaks in here, grass-fed steaks, I've got my bread in here that I like, I've got butter, like everything that you could normally do at home I've got in here. And this fridge is actually really big, you guys. I've got all my cold cut meat up here, my eggs, I got apples, some oranges, some condiments, waters, whatever. It's like super cool. Pocket door came out really good. So as you guys saw, I was talking about painting the pocket door. So I'll have to figure this out too, because it's probably going to be susceptible to scratching going in and out. So I might have put a felt pad in there and do some touch-ups, but not too concerned with that. We'll deal with that as it kind of comes. That I still have to finish that little panel, put it back in, because I had to pop that out when I was repairing that wheel that had fallen and sunken down there. Other than that, here's the bedroom. I'm not much of a bed maker, but got the blackout curtains. All this works good. I've got that sitting out right now, but got all of this situated and it looks really good, you guys. As for the bathroom, I haven't put up that medicine cabinet just yet. I'll probably end up putting it up. I feel like it's kind of a little bit small, but yeah, everything's been working. The shower's been working good. I got this little thing here for our soap and whatnot, just to hold it. But shower has been working awesome, no issues there. I can probably put this panel back on. I've been leaving it off just in case I had any leaks that I could spot anything, but everything has been good, so I think I'm safe to put the access panel back in. So anyways, you guys, like I said, the floors are definitely horrendous, but I can only do so much in a short period of time, and honestly pretty much by myself doing all this. So overall, super happy. This is probably one of the better investments I've made as far as everything. I know some people don't like the RV content, but this is going to allow us to go to the track and race. So that's the whole purpose behind this, is that we can go on the road, we can go to events like this. We're literally here in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and we can go to events, and I can stay on the road for a while, hit different, you know, car racing events, car shows, and all that, and be completely mobile. I've got my laptop over there. I'm literally editing this video right here at this little desk, and then I can upload it remotely. So this is going to change the game for us. I'm pretty excited to be able to do this. Just, you know, hop up, go on the road, go to racing events, shows, all that kind of stuff. So pretty excited, pretty happy. I know I've been talking for a while here. So anyways, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. This is going to be posted on Boosted Motorsports too, so if you guys are curious, I'm going to be posting a lot of the event content, probably on the original Boosted Motorsports, the bigger channel. So go head over there for that content. If you guys aren't subscribed to both Boosted Motorsports, I'll link both of them down here below for you guys. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.